My name is Dr. Gina Newton. I am one of the CTE coordinators here at the Los Angeles County Office of Education, Career Technical Education Unit, and we'd like to welcome you to yet again another segment of It's About Time. I'd like to introduce to you our project director, Raina Flores Hansen. And Raina, good morning.
Good morning, and on behalf of the Los Angeles County Office of Education, I'm honored to welcome everyone to It's About Time. Our CTE unit hosts professional development opportunities that focus on specific industry sectors, such as today, the growing field of cybersecurity. I recently had the privilege to interview a 23-year-old female, Olivia Woodhouse. She holds a position of cloud security consultant that specializes in GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Her employer is Accenture in Boston. She loves to sing and play the piano. She's an amazing actress on stage. So I was kind of wondering what she was doing in security and in computers. As she planned for her future, she saw a demand in computer science. I found it fascinating. So I asked her if she enjoyed her career choice. She said, not all cybersecurity jobs are heavily technical. She was worried that she was going to have to code all day long and get stuck in a job that didn't allow her to express her creativity. But her job is surprisingly creative. She said the best way she could describe what she does is she is a translator for technology. She works with people who create websites and applications, and she communicates with them to explain why or why not their technology is secure. So she's a translator per se, and she said that was her jam. She also explained that even though she had a computer background, she never did anything with security and didn't really expect to land a cybersecurity job. Olivia pursued security because she studied for and passed a cloud certification exam. The three main cloud providers today are AWS, Amazon, GCP, Google, and Azure, Microsoft. The certification that Olivia obtained is GCP Associate Cloud Engineering certification. Google offers many certification and specialization options for each cloud provider. Olivia's starting salary was over $80,000 a year. Certifications can be acquired with many different levels of education, from high school to college. These certifications look great on a resume. Everyone is moving to the cloud, so you will find a majority of businesses host their web applications and data all on the cloud. Today, you will hear from our professionals that there is a huge demand for people with these skills. Security is becoming increasingly crucial, especially amongst everything happening with Russia. Our world dictates securities that keep us safe. With this said, I'm so thrilled to bring to you our very best LACOE professionals to learn more about the exciting and growing field of cybersecurity and about how we can inspire and prepare the next wave of cybersecurity experts. My Olivia Woodhouse, thank you for your interview. She's just so cute. Dr. Newton, back to you.
And thank you so much, Raina. Thank you so much for those opening words there. And we, again, want to thank everyone who is on this call today. Again, you are in for a treat. Before we get started, there's one thing that I want to just share with you before I get into norms, housekeeping, and etc. Make sure that you have your morning beverage, be it your mocha, latte, frappe, juice box, whatever it is that you have, be sure that you have that. Hold on to it because you're going to need it in just a few. So welcome back to another segment of It's About Time. And as I share my screen here with you, I want to take you back just a moment and share with you what the impetus is for It's About Time. Again, my name is Dr. Gina Newton. I'm one of the CTE coordinators here at the Los Angeles County Office of Ed in our Office of Career Technical Education. As always, first and foremost, our CTE unit extends thoughts of wellness to you and your family. Second, a sincere thank you for being here today. We recognize that you have many other work-related commitments and that you've committed your time to being here with us in this hour of student empowerment, of engagement and opportunity, speaks to your goals of moving students forward. During this continued time of ever-changing adjustments to our lives, it's about time for candid, honest conversations for productive change for the benefits of our students. There are a couple of norms and information here that I want to share with you all as we go into It's About Time. Keep in mind that this event is being recorded. We ask that you please remain muted and use the chat for your comments. Any questions that you have, we just ask that you put 2 question marks in front of the question in the chat. Again, if it's a question in the chat, put 2 question marks. The chat this morning is going to be facilitated by myself, and we just invite you that as things come to mind to utilize that. And we ask that you please complete the survey that is going to be placed in the chat there for you. It really informs our work here as far as what direction we should continue on or what direction we should slightly move over for. The objectives of It's About Time are what you see before you. They are based on the 12 essential elements of a high quality career and college pathway. And they also look at what the state is asking for in regards to developing our programs. So if you look at the support, you notice that that's mentioned twice here, providing and implementing the appropriate use of data. And I left the link here in the bottom so that you can go back and refer to these. Everything that you hear today, the recording, this PowerPoint presentation will be shared with you. When we look at our student demographics, we look at this breakdown of race and ethnicity in LA County, the call for equitable access to resources, be it in the form of education, social services, technology, employment, healthcare, housing, it's overwhelming. The gaps in equity that COVID-19 has further revealed places students of color in particular in increasingly precarious positions and situations that CTE is strategically aligned to address. Which brings me to our featured guest. As we talk about these different industry sectors, and there are 15 that are covered in CTE, when we start looking at information technology, do you see it down there at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen? This particular segment of the industry filters into all of the sectors. So as we listen to the presentation today, and if you are specific to that particular sector, then you're in for a world of information. If you are not directly involved in this sector, you will be just very, very soon here. So our special guests here today are from LACOE's own Technology Services Unit. And we would like to now, remember just a little while ago, I asked you to have your morning beverage. We're going to ask right now that as we welcome in our special presenters today, we have Sonia Hooks, Interim Assistant Director of LACOE Technology Services. We have Mandel Hawl, Information Security Officer here at LACOE, and we have Kip, who is also with us, and his department, his region here is just slightly different. He's LACOE Technology. He's also Learning and Support Services. So raise with me, please, your lattes, your frappes, your juice boxes, your cups of water, and let's welcome our very special guest today from Technology Services. Thank you.
My name is Mandel Hawl. I'm the Information Services Security Officer here at LACOE. And today we're going to talk a little bit about cybersecurity, you know, what it is, the challenges we face, and a little bit about cybersecurity as a career field. Next slide, please. Okay, so just get into it. What's cybersecurity? Well, the official definition from NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, states that cybersecurity is the prevention of damage, protection of, restoration of computers, electronic communication systems, electronic communication services, wire communications, electronic communications, including information contained therein to ensure availability, integrity, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation. It's quite a mouthful. So personally, I think the goals are a little better defined. The goal of cybersecurity is to maintain a safe and stable business operation. Personally, people in my field, we actually just have one purpose, and the purpose of cybersecurity is, especially people in our education field, is to protect our people. To protect the privacy of the personal lives of our employees and students, to protect the livelihood and financial stability of our people. We don't want your social security numbers and addresses and personal information to be leaked, so people could open credit cards under your name. We don't want someone launching ransomware at work, so you won't be able to even go to work for weeks, or even lose your data that you've been working hard for years. We don't want someone to be taking your passwords to log into your bank account and your Facebook account, or your 20 other online bank accounts that use the same passwords. Because face it, you are reusing your passwords, and we know it. So for us, protecting our people is probably the most important goal or purpose of cybersecurity. All right, so continuing on cybersecurity. First off, there is no magic button. It doesn't happen automatically. There's no button or even some magic software you could install in your computer and all of a sudden, poof, you're safe. There's no, there's not even a great IT guru that you can hire and expect to be completely safe. Cybersecurity is a thought out process which needs the entire environment, including its people and its culture. Everyone needs to participate in order to succeed. Okay. And what are the pillars of cybersecurity? What is the main thing supporting a good cybersecurity program? First thing would be policies and procedures, which we're going to call process. And then it's the technology. Obviously, you need some good, tech in order to block all these bad things, and people. So these are the three main pillars of cybersecurity. Okay, and let's delve deeper into these three different pillars. First one would be people. The training, the education, the outreach, the professional skills and qualifications and certifications needed for the more technical folk. The people to share resources such as news and events happening, discussion forums and other information sharing groups. So people is a very great and important pillar. Process, policies, restrictions, procedures, governance, proper and secure ways of doing things. And of course, there's the technology, which we know as the hardware and software that runs a lot of these things. Notice that out of these three pillars, only the bottom one is super tech heavy. The top pillar people is about educating and training its users and spreading information. The process is about documentation and guidance. So we'll delve deeper into this in a little bit, but please keep that in mind for now. In order to have a successful cybersecurity program, all three of these pillars need to be taken into account. And unfortunately, a lot of security programs really focus a lot on tech heavy and on IT, and they kind of neglect the other two pillars. Okay, next slide. So to finish the broad definition of cybersecurity, I want to illustrate some of the most common cybersecurity attacks. This is not an all-inclusive list. This is just a common list. If we actually continue this list, I could probably speak for days. And within these most common cybersecurity attacks, there are going to be kind of subcategories. For example, you see number 5, it says malware attacks. Well, for example, ransomware is a type of malware. Same for CNC, which we call command and control malware. So just in 2021, there was 560,000 new pieces of malware that are detected every day. There are more than 1 billion malware programs out there. So it's actually a huge challenge to fight against malware. Not to mention we have to fight against phishing attacks or hackers that are attempting to break into your network, or people that are attempting to find ways of hacking into software. It's a lot to defend, and yeah, it's a challenging goal. Okay, next slide. Okay, and the sad part is it's an arms race. Every time we build a better mousetrap, the hackers build a better mouse. Unfortunately, they are much better funded than we are. A lot of the groups are funded by governments or get rich by doing ransomware. According to CloudWords, the ransomware cost the world $20 billion in last year. So the US Treasury itself tracked about $5 billion in Bitcoin going to the top 10 known ransomware groups. So ransomware could range from someone that's threatening for $115,000 to $50 million, which was the demand made to Acer Computer Corporation in March of last year. And that's just the money made from ransomware. They also sell your credit cards, your passwords and social security numbers, your mother's maiden name. They sell all that information they've gathered on the dark web. They make transactions using stolen credit card numbers. They transfer money from people's bank accounts. And surprisingly, the scam known as the Nigerian Prince inheritance is still a thing and people still fall for it. And that's another way that people and these hackers and these adversaries are really still making money. So cyber adversaries are very motivated to attack, and they continue to attack and only get bigger and more sophisticated throughout the years. Okay, so what are we doing? We're fighting back. We're trying our best to fight back. There's multiple government initiatives listed from 2015, which California established their Cybersecurity Integration Center, and then also listed the other initiatives that the U.S. government or government entities have done within the past 2 years. There are multiple cybersecurity centers and specialized units opening across the country. Just this year, the president proposed a budget of $10.9 billion for 2023 for cyber-related initiatives. Earlier this month, the U.S. State Department opens a cybersecurity policy bureau. And that's just the public sector. The private sector, the field continues to heat up. Okay, the number of unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs actually grew and continues to grow. It grew by 350% from 2013 to 2021. Currently, there are about 465,000 open positions in cybersecurity nationwide. So it's a lot of open positions. And estimates are that by 2025, there's going to be 3.5 million open cybersecurity positions worldwide. So it's definitely a much needed career, much needed specialist doing this kind of field. And you would think with such a lucrative career, does it require a lot of education? Is this so many people flooding the market? I kind of want to open it back to you guys now. I mean, how much do you think on average a cybersecurity professional would make? And how many years of school do you think you need? So, someone could type it in chat, just throw out a number. How much do you think a cybersecurity person would start out as? 6 figures? Okay, that's pretty good. And how many years of education? 56K, 100,000, 2 years, 81K, 2 to 4 years. All right. Yeah, those are great. I mean, certificates, yes, but just formalized education, because there are cybersecurity formalized educations out there. Okay. So, okay, thank you. And Kip, if you could show the slide. So this is actually taken from CISA, which is our U.S. cybersecurity security agency, illustrating the starting salary and kind of the career path. So for example, electrician, 6 months, 2 years of school would have an average starting salary of $55,000. Someone in business, average salary of $61,000 after 4 years of school. Cybersecurity on average, 4 years of school, $116,000 average starting salary. So that's nearly equivalent to a lawyer. So, or half a doctor, a little more than half a doctor. So it's huge. I mean, we're talking about a lot of money and a lot of need for it. So with so many openings, high pay, and the glory of being the good guys, fighting against those evil hackers, you'd think there'll be tons of people lining up, But how do you even get started? And next slide. It's easy. Let's get certified. You have your easy 24-step program right here. I think some people mentioned certifications and getting certified. And obviously it looks very complicated. But let's just pay attention to the very bottom line. Okay, bottom line is probably most importantly, you see the Security Plus certification. It's a great way to begin your overall cybersecurity with cybersecurity basics. This will qualify a person for even entry-level analyst positions. And as their career advances, they continue moving up the security path. That's when these higher end security certifications actually come to play. But it's not as complicated as it looks. There's lots of resources out there that actually do allow you to simplify this quite a bit. So let's go to the next slide. Let's go back to the pillars for a little bit. So, a student, someone who's into technical, does that mean that cybersecurity isn't a good fit for them? Not necessarily. I mean, if that person is good at speaking or conveying information, they could be trainers or educators, or they're good at writing or attention to detail. They could be policy writers, technical writers, auditors, risk management. And according to a Enterprise Strategy Group's report, a full 23% of surveyed cybersecurity employees that are currently employed began their careers in non-IT fields. This doesn't mean you don't need a good technical understanding, but it just means that soft skills are just as important to cybersecurity professionals as good technical skills. If there is, a student or someone right now that isn't very tech savvy, that does not necessarily mean at all that they can't be great in cybersecurity. Same thing with myself. I mean, I didn't start specifically in cybersecurity. I was a computer science major. We didn't even have a cybersecurity major back then. I worked as a programmer for a couple of years, and it wasn't until eventually there was the need that I actually got into the career, and continued advancing in it. So it doesn't have to be dedicated or have to be kind of something that you plan out for your whole life. It could be definitely a pivot. Okay, next slide, please. So let's talk about some resources out there. Number one, I actually expressed lots of, I think they have lots of great information. ISTISA, which is the United States Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agencies. They have an initiative called the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Careers and Studies, and it contains a lot of great information for students on what they should do in their career path to reach their cybersecurity career goal. It talks about what classes they should take in high school, what majors they can pursue in college, and and additional ways to kind of continue on their cybersecurity goal. Okay. On the CISA side, there's also a breakdown of some of the career profiles in cybersecurity, including common job duties, soft skills required, the median salary, and even if a degree is required, because some of these technical careers actually do not require a full degree and still are very well paying. Another resource I want to emphasize, kind of want to just cover a little bit, is the Cybersecurity Education Guides. The site actually has information about cybersecurity internships. It actually has a great guide on how to begin your internship. There's different search engines there, like it's almost like a job search engine for cybersecurity interns. There's information about K2 cybersecurity education, cybersecurity boot camps, and security clearances for different cybersecurity jobs. Some of the higher end cybersecurity jobs, especially for the government, does require specific cybersecurity clearance. Okay. And beyond, options open out there for the government, and I know Kip is going to cover this in a little bit about other resources, but beyond government resources, there's also private companies are emphasizing how we could start promoting cybersecurity at a young age. Palo Alto has a program called Cyber Aces, which actually creates activities and different things that you could do and allow your students to kind of actually begin in the cybersecurity kind of thinking. So, so for example, next slide, it's just a simple activity that was, for ages 5 to 7. So you can download this directly from the program or from the site that actually just has a fun little activity for your students to, teach them a little bit about what cybersecurity is. Next slide shows a little larger age group for ages 8 to 10. So there's different activities for different age groups. It's a useful site, and this is just one of many resources out there that are freely available for educators to actually start promoting cybersecurity as a thought process, and perhaps as a career for our growing younger kids. And amongst the promotion for cybersecurity, the U.S. government also has something called Cyber Corps, which is a scholarship for students. It offers scholarships, stipends for up to $25,000 a year for students, and $34,000 a year for graduate students. And the only stipulation about this is that they have to work for the government for a period of time after they graduate in order to fulfill the scholarships. And truthfully, working for government isn't all that bad. So I think it's almost like a win-win situation for many people. But it's definitely a great program. And I just wanted to kind of illustrate the overall. It is a lot of resources. Everyone recognizes it is a tough challenge, and we're definitely doing all we can to kind of move towards a more defensive posture for everyone within the U.S. So. Kip.
All right, thank you, Mandel. I'm Kip. I am a teacher by training, and so I'm going to go from a viewpoint of the classroom a little bit more, and some of the resources that can be found in the K-12 classroom for teachers in the area. I'm going to focus on actually more on digital citizenship in the classroom and cover a broader range of skills besides cybersecurity. These are the 6 kind of fundamental areas that need to be covered dealing with digital citizenship, digital media literacy, excuse me. And you can see under, actually, let me just kind of quickly go through them all. Finding media balance and well-being, digital footprint and identity, cyberbullying, drama, digital drama and hate speech. And then, of course, privacy and security is the one that we're focused on today. But it also has relationships and communication, news, and media literacy. These are actually kind of required topics for all K-12 educators. Most districts receive E-rate funding of some sort, and it's required in E-rate funding as a recipient of E-rate funding to provide digital citizenship training to students. As also for SIPA compliance, we also need to talk about security, privacy, security, and our digital footprint and identity with students as well. So I'm going to go from that point of view. Again, these slides will be available for everyone, and they will have direct links in the PowerPoint so that you don't have to worry about writing anything down. You can just click on these links and go directly there. So before we kind of explore some of these areas and some of the resources, I want to play a little game just to kind of get you guys looking and thinking about phishing. We talked about phishing with a PH. In case you're not familiar, that's when you get, when someone asks information of you. Basically, that's all it is. It's someone who's not who they say they are asking information of you. So here's an example. You get an email from PayPal here. Take a look at this email. And what do you notice about it? You can go ahead and throw things in the chat. Is this something you would respond to? What do you see as flags that tell you that maybe this is not something you should click on and answer? What triggers, Holly, you said the email is not real. What are some of the things that you can think of, you can see that it's not real? It looks pretty real to me. It's got the logo, and anything with a logo is real, right? It tells me to log into PayPal. If I click on PayPal, shouldn't it log in, right? So as you guys are posting in there, yeah, one of the big factors to look at is where the email is coming from. And I think most of you have noticed that right away. On my email, this is actually the email I received. That's why I have it. But you can see that email address on my system shows up, so I can see the email address here, and you can see it comes from something at now. It's possible PayPal uses something other than their own domain, but it's very rare that it's going to be a domain of such bizarre numbers and letters. It's going to be pretty much like customersupport.paypal.com or something like that. So that's one huge indicator. And even if this doesn't say that, sometimes it just says PayPal. Sometimes it just has that PayPal on top. If you hover over it, it will generally show you the email address it comes from. So that's a good clue. If it doesn't show up automatically, just hover over it. Another trick is like this login to PayPal. If you hover over it, you notice a little pop-up window comes up and tells you where that link goes. And you can see it goes to, I know it's very small on your screen, but on mine it says l.wl.co/ and then a whole bunch of other numbers and letters. So that's, again, how you know it's not real. A login to PayPal should go to login paypal.com or whatever. As a general rule, just never click on a link to log in. If it tells you there's a problem with PayPal, go to PayPal yourself. That's it. That's kind of fundamental, easy way to protect yourself from phishing things, because banks and any legitimate organization actually won't ever put a login link in their email. So they should always direct you to go to your login somewhere else. So, and yes, if you do not use PayPal, it's even crazier, right? Some of you put that, they said, dear customer, instead of your name. That's always a good indication. So those are all the wonderful things that you can clue in on, but you have to also remind your students and others that I got to tell my parents all the time because they keep asking me stuff. Hey, am I supposed to do this? Why did I get this? And yeah, I got to tell them that, yeah, basically, if you don't know for certain who it is, just don't click on anything, bottom line. So thank you for playing along with that. Let's go on to the next slide here. So this is a page of kind of, I just put down 4 hyperlinks that go to the things that I'm talking about. LACOE actually sponsors a digital, actually we don't sponsor Digital Citizenship Week. We participate in a Digital Citizenship Week. The Digital Citizenship Week is always around the 3rd week of October. It was October 18th to the 22nd of last year. There'll be one this coming year in 2022. And that's when all schools focus on digital citizenship and do activities related to that so the kids become aware of it. And so we participate in that, and we produce materials for that to support our teachers and teachers throughout the district in LA County. And so this very first link, laco.edu/technology digital citizenship, is the link that we have all our resources. Let me just jump over there and switch. Dude, that's not it. Let's go and switch. Can I get out of this? There we go. Switch to digital citizenship. Here's our digital citizenship page. Actually, it can be accessed from our laco.edu homepage. Our laco.edu homepage, if you hover over technology, there is the digital citizenship page right there. And when you click on that, it takes you to this page, which was what I was referring to earlier. And if you scroll down to the bottom, we have a lot of resources here for digital citizenship and different activities you can do in the classroom. We have a cybersecurity area, some student activities for them to go directly to, from professional development opportunities for the teachers here. And then a lot of teacher resources. Common Sense Media is the one I'm going to focus on, but there's also EverFi, Be Internet Awesome. Microsoft has some great stuff. And so this page is always up. We don't have it just during Digital Citizenship Week. It's always up. We update it every year for digital citizenship. But this stuff has, all this stuff is available for you to utilize. Let me jump back to my screen here. Okay. And that was just this thing. I just showed that to you in real time versus going here. And then Common Sense Media. Actually, I do want to go and talk about this one. Common Sense Media is kind of the main one we kind of focus on, and a lot of people use it. It's a great place. This is Common Sense Education. It's part of Common Sense Media. It's a great site for parents and others to go to kind of get guidance and help on using digital media for students and their children. Let me jump back to the actual site itself. And so you see under educators, common sense education, digital curriculum, there's a lot of lesson plans, direct lesson plans you can work with here. So the 6 areas that I showed you in the very opening slide, media and well-being, balance and well-being, privacy, security, digital footprints, etc. You can just click on them and go to the different activities. So if I go to privacy and security, you can scroll down. They have activities from kindergartner all the way to high school on different things you can do with your students to get them more aware and learn more about privacy and security to help kind of get them interested in the whole field of cybersecurity. A lot of people, I'm sure, won't join cybersecurity unless they were very interested in it from a much younger age. So these are great tools to help kids be more aware and activities you can do with students. Okay, so, and again, and if you are a parent, if you don't teach kids of this level, you can also use the different resources that are available here to teach your own kids or just spread the word. Okay, so they have lessons, videos, all sorts of interesting stuff here. Google has a Google for Education. This website has lots of not really I guess trainings, adult trainings for you to learn and learn more about it. Basically, it's for your professional development, and it's a wide range of skills. It does include cybersecurity and some issues related to that, but it's also other things, anything technical that Google does. If you want to learn more about skills in Google and in the digital arena, it's a great place for professional development for you as an educator, as an adult. And also the other 4th one I picked to kind of highlight and show is a site from KQED. It's a part of PBS, and it's part of their educator certification program. And if you go to this website, there's just a ton of resources to get self-certified in different aspects of digital citizenship and media. And it's a great course. Yeah, and again, all these links are available on that one slide when you download this this PowerPoint presentation. Okay, another game, another email. My alert has been suspended. Oh no, I can't recover this something. I need to download that report. And what do you see as issues with this one? Same game. See if you notice what things you notice from here. Just block those guys. That was from the last one. Blocking it is wonderful, except you never get the same. It never comes from the same place. It always comes from a different location every single time they send one, because they know they get blocked by other people. So let's see. Long email address. Yep, same thing. Okay, email is definitely wonky. Okay, I don't know why they would. Okay, so there's the white hat hackers, which are the people who are trying to defeat all the bad guys. But like, don't the bad guys, couldn't they hire somebody who could just write better and create stuff that's, more realistic? I don't know. Sorry, that's the dark side of me thinking. The statement with a weird name, long email address. Again, the client, at least they got a fake return email address. Well, actually, it says to client@notifications.td Americatrade. I don't have a TD Ameritrade account, so I don't even know where this came from. Lots of typos. Yep. And the bottom line, again, I have to deal this with my parents all the time. Bottom line is, if you don't know who sent you that attachment, if you weren't expecting an attachment, don't download it, period. I don't care if it's from my bank or whatever. My bank doesn't send me attachments. So nobody, or sometimes you get an attachment from a friend sent you an attachment. I recommend to call your friend and ask them, did you send me something? Because even emails get hacked all the time. Okay, so yeah, that's my policy. I don't download anything unless I was expecting the file from you. If I'm not expecting it from you, I just don't download it. I will call and confirm, something like that. But absolutely, you guys are getting the idea that these phishing attacks, but it may be simple and obvious to you, but it's not obvious to everyone. And obviously this still works because the Nigerian prince is still making the rounds, asking people for money, and apparently he's still getting it. So I remember the first time I got that Nigerian prince. This is probably in the 80s. So it's been at least 40 years. It's probably longer than that when the Nigerian prince came around, and it's still working. So they spelled my boss's name wrong when asking for money. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, actually, I get a lot of those now too, where they say, I'm a friend of yours. I'm in trouble. I'm stuck somewhere. I'm on a tropical island somewhere, and I need your money from you. Yeah, and if they don't spell your name correctly, yeah, that's absolutely the case. Let's see. Let me go and click. So this is a review of some of the stuff that Mandel mentioned earlier, and a couple of other new ones as well. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, is the one he was referencing earlier, and nix.cisa.gov is the site he had talked about earlier that showed a lot about the career paths and different ways you can get into the business. So this is the website itself, but I want to point out, besides just going in there and find out what careers exist, there's also, again, classroom aids there as well. So on this page, if you scroll down from the main page, there's curricula, professional development for yourself, curricula for helping your kids to learn more about it, and then direct things for students to go on to learn more about cybersecurity and as a field, as a career, and just how to protect yourself. Okay. Cyber.org has a wonderful thing of career paths. This is the big chart that Mandel showed earlier that had the pretty colors of all the different icons. And I loved looking at this because it showed a bunch of different careers, and you could be a pen tester. I didn't realize that was a career choice, that I could have, become a pen tester. I have no idea what that is. It just sounded interesting as a career path, introducing to your kids. Hey,
let them know what a pen tester is, Mandel. It's pretty cool.
Mandel, what is a pen tester?
It's actually really technical. It's a penetration tester.
Wow.
That's probably as close as a hacker as you'll get, actually. You actually are hired to break into networks to penetrate a system, and then afterward, after you do or don't, you list out all the good things or bad things about the network and how to fix it.
Oh, that is cool. Now, see, they should have just called it like white hat hacker or a hacker or something like that, because that would have drawn my attention. I see pen tester and I'm going like, why would I even look at that further? I don't want to. Exactly. I was thinking of the styluses for touch screens or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can pass on that. But thank you for sharing that, Mandel, for explaining that. Yeah, that makes much more sense. And that would be a very cool career. I think I might do that as a second career when I retire, go hacking other people's systems. And my final activity, I love this one because it's almost realistic. This is a receipt I received. There's just two parts. I couldn't fit it on a horizontal slide, so I cut up into two parts of the top part and the bottom part. And it's just wonderful because it's almost correct. Almost. Again, I'm lucky enough that my email system always shows the email address, return email address. Some don't. I know that I've used some systems before where you have to hover or hit the show more button in order to see the email address. So clearly that is a garbage email address and you could avoid at all costs. But they at least got the fake service@paypal.com. At least it looks real if you didn't have the ability to see that email address instantly. But I just love the way they do it. Then they have a transaction ID, but again, if you hover over it, and this is my, I don't know if you can see, it's really tiny. If I hover over that, the transaction ID or the cancel payment button, right? It's not logging in, it's just asking me to cancel. So you think it's okay, but if you hover over it, the thing you will notice, if you could read that really tiny little URL that pops up, it actually says bit.ly/blah, blah, 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 blah. And this is my pitch as technology services here at LACOE. One of the things that we urge other people to do, or not do, I should say, stop using bit.ly. please don't use bit.ly, because what you do is you're creating a behavior where people think it's okay to click on bit.ly links, and they never say anything interesting because it's bit.ly. It's a random jumbled bunch of letters, and you do it for your trainings because, oh, I want them to download this presentation. Let's make a bit.ly so I don't have to put the whole URL in. It sounds great, but you're creating behaviors in people where they think it's okay to hit bit.ly. And there's nothing inherently wrong with bit.ly, except when I hover over a bit.ly URL, I can't tell where it goes. So I have no clue whether this is legitimate or not. You could have sent me a legitimate link to something, but if it says bit.ly, I am very hesitant to click on it because I don't really know. Was your hack, was Gina's account hacked and she sent me something that's not legitimate? I don't know. So I highly encourage you to learn how to hyperlink something in your email, because emails all allow you to do that. So take the URL and then link it to the words. And you can link it to words, click here or whatever. You can link it to cancel the payment. That's not a problem. But by linking it, and if you hover it, instead of seeing bit.ly, I would see the entire URL that says laco.edu/technology services/ digital citizenship. And then I know, okay, that goes to a legitimate URL. So you want to train those behaviors in people, even your participants. So that's why I really encourage you not to use bit.ly or any URL shortener. And we've been trying to say that at LACOE a lot, but I know people just find it easy to do. And say, it's like, I know.
So Kip, what about when you're like printing up a flyer and you want to shrink it out? Is tiny URL better? And then you do really specific words, and then they know it's good. So teach us, what should we do?
Sorry.
What should we do?
So there are a couple of things that are legitimate to do, right? So everything I try to do, I try to make a hyperlink. So if you make a PDF and hyperlink a PDF, you can actually say, click here, and it'll go to the right URL, and then type the URL down below for people who really want to see the long URL. But in terms of having just a cool URL, the best thing to do is actually talk to your web domain administrator and get what's called a redirect. So what do I mean for that? So if let me go and switch gears. So
I'm giving you tough questions.
Yeah, you are giving me tough questions.
Because I mean, some people create, print flyers, a lot of, folks do it electronically, but there are purposes where they do print flyers. So what's the safest way to do that? So
this is the safest way to do it. I don't know how successful you'll be, because this gets, it just gets problematic if you do a lot of flyers. So this is called a redirect. This requires our people at Technology Services to actually do something. You have to call us, and we actually have to do something for you. You cannot do this on your own. It's taking our domain, laco.edu, and creating what's called a redirect. So I could say laco.edu/training docs. That's one of the ones I have. It's a redirect. And I use that redirect because whenever I have a new something that I want you to download, I just tell you, go to laco.edu/training docs. And that's easy to remember. It's relatively short. But what I've done on the back end is requested that laco.edu/training docs get redirected to a different, longer URL. That's essentially what bit.ly does. The only difference is bit.ly is controlled by bit.ly, and we have no idea where bit.ly goes. laco.edu, we control that. We can create that, and then it's still laco.edu. They still see laco.edu. They don't see the whole URL. They see laco.edu, and they know that our laco.edu people authorize and sanction that. So if I hit enter on this, you'll see it flashes a little bit, and then changes the entire URL to laco.sharepoint.com. That's a completely different website, not attached to laco.edu at all. But it was sanctioned by laco.edu. That means it was approved by laco.edu, and that means it's legitimate. And that's the difference, okay? And so I put everything I want people to download from here. And so every time I have a new training, I say, hey, I got a new guide for you. Go to laco.edu/training docs, and it goes to this site, and I maintain this site, and I can upload a new document to this site at any time I want to. And so that is a suggested way of doing things, okay? Or using laco.edu itself. So at laco.edu, let me go to my site. So this one is our site, technology services. So it's a little bit long, but I could always tell them to go here to download anything. And then I upload it here, and like these links here are where I have people download stuff. So you're referencing a known website with a legit domain, and then they can go there to download, and you can maintain those things there. That's what we recommend. Until LACOE has its own URL shortener, that is the best way to do it. Or
I think that's a great idea. And if they need help with that, you can always just email the help desk.
Yes.
And our team can work with you to get those redirects.
Yeah. So yeah, remember, technology services is here to serve you and help you do what you need. Just because it cannot be done in a particular way, we'll help and figure out a way to help you do it so it works, so it's more secure and better for everyone, as opposed to people go, oh, I don't know. The easiest ways, like for example, I'm going to kind of pick on people now. People find it really easy to dump things on Google Drive and then share it with everyone. Google is not an official domain of LACOE. So anything you put on Google is a private Google account that goes with that person. And if you're sharing that Google account to make it easier, because my entire department uses that Google account, that's a huge security risk. And none of those documents are part of LACOE at all. And you're sending URLs to people, and it's a nightmare for security. So please do not do that. There are ways to share documents through laco.edu. And again, if you're not familiar with how to upload a document to laco.edu and have it available to everyone, let us know. Contact the help desk, and we'll get you training and get you permissions that you need to do that. But that's the official way to share a document to the entire world, is by putting it on laco.edu and linking to it.
I have one question in the chat directed to me, and I couldn't answer it. So Mandel and Kip, so how do we deal with sites that don't have SSL certificates, including many of our districts and school sites where they didn't update their certs?
Well, I mean, having a non-certificated site doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Obviously, the best thing to do is to contact the site and have them update certificates or install a certificate. It validates that it is a legitimate site. Most of the times, these sites are already bought by legitimate entities. So, and a lot of these are trustworthy if they end with the proper extension. For example, that .edu site can only be registered by educational entities through a specific government site. In other words, normal people cannot register .edu sites. So if you see .edu, that gives you the extra level of trust already. Same thing with .gov, with .mil, those are safe sites. Now .org, anyone can register .org. Org are not a safe site. So if you see .org, have a level of suspicion there. Obviously, the best thing to do at those times is really just contact the site and just have them validate that the site is correct and that they really should update your certificate. It's going to be their data is not being encrypted when it's being sent. So there's a level of risk there.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's that last activity covered sort of my links to all the different sites. Hopefully that gave you an insight, or at least thought about the process, and then seeing all the links. Again, just download the presentation. We'll have it available to you so you can access all the links that we provided. So I'm going to turn it over to Sonia, who's going to cover delete the divide.
Sonia, Kip.
Didn't I say Sonia?
No, you said Sonia.
I'm sorry.
We just
I
had
spent years practicing.
I know, it's funny. We just had a long discussion about, pronunciation of names, so it's all good. I'm gonna fly through my presentation because I know the focus of this is really cybersecurity. So I really want to give you all the opportunity to ask a few more questions. I just want to introduce you to the Delete the Divide initiative. Yeah, go ahead, Kip. We're LACOE has been working aggressively with the county board of supervisors and ISD when the pandemic began, which keeps going on and on and on. Since 2020, they allocated funds for LACOE for us to buy laptops and MiFis to support our school districts because there were a host of different challenges with supply chain, and it worked out perfectly for the County Board of Supervisors to centralize the funding to LACOE, and we send out those laptops and such to our school districts and ultimately to students and teachers. But what we found is that was just a Band-Aid. So we are committed in the county to getting broadband internet access to all constituents. And we know that our Black and Latinx communities are the main ones who have been impacted, but not having those access to the internet. And just like we just talked about with all these cybersecurity jobs and such, we know that, you can't access and you can't learn, you can't be, tuned into those resources if you don't have the simple ability to get on the internet. Go ahead. So what we're starting with as far as the 3 folds of Delete the Divide, the county is committed to doing mass marketing for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is where participants who qualify across the county can get discounts for their broadband internet access at home. The second phase of that is a community wireless network, where the county is trying to stand up our own wireless network, which is, really next level, where we don't have to use AT&T or Spectrum or any of those vendors. It's a county Wi-Fi, and then fiber directly to the home. Go ahead. So again, we have the benefits for ACP, which also gives one-time discounts on the purchase of a laptop or any kind of other device to connect to the internet, and then the monthly service discounts for that connectivity. Go ahead. So in this slide, the county, they created a host of resources. There's a social media kit where you can click on all of this and get these same things to share on social media, through email. There's PDFs in a variety of different languages that you can share directly with your community. So we're really excited that they created those resources. We also have the ability to get you print marketing resources, and I'm going to work with Gina and her team, and because we're going to be finding representatives to support us, if there's, any need for print materials, and we can get them directly to any districts or school sites where you have the ability to speak to parents. Go ahead. So again, Los Angeles, like I said, we're working on building that community wireless. Keep clicking. So Governor Newsom and our political allies are on board and putting more infrastructure in place for broadband activities. And that money came down, again, from the federal government for broadband access, kind of tied to the transportation funding that came down. So CNIC is a partner with us also, and they are like our K-12 provider of internet. If you've ever heard of the high-speed network K-12. So we have access to, and have had for years, ability to have free internet for some of our school districts or all of our school districts, but we just have to do some of that last mile connectivity, and that's where we've had to get that from our telcos. So we're trying to alleviate that and have that middle mile and last mile where it's directly from the county. Go ahead. So again, we're excited. We just put out the RFQ for qualifying managed services to support the county. While we have the ability and the funding to support this, we realize that we're not necessarily in the managed service business. So we're working to get contractors to support us and figuring out the best places and locations to put those assets to fire up those community wireless networks. So again, we're also working with the City of Los Angeles, and our County Board of Supervisors has identified the priority areas with the pilot program, and that's where we're going to start first. So in the Watts Willowbrook area, the Harbor Gateway area, and I can't think of the last one, but it's coming, and it's going to be happening relatively quickly. So we're really excited about that. We should see those pilots popping up anytime before the end of the year. Go ahead. So again, this just kind of gives you a whole operation plan that the county has put together, and we're in partnership with them to make sure it's successful. And then you can just go on to the next slide. That's the fiber to the home, where we're really going to be advocates because we're trusted partners in the community. So when people think of government coming in and putting broadband in their homes, we're going to have to help them, understand the benefits of that. So it's going to take us, it's going to take our community-based organizations, our faith-based partners to make sure our community understands the value of having this internet access in the home. Go ahead. Just go ahead to the next one. We are continuing, like I said, to partner with the E-rate programs. E-rate is a program that provides funding for schools and libraries. And we're just trying to make sure our federal government understands that, schools already have circuits in place. They should be allowed to utilize those circuits to support the community. And right now, those can't with the current legislation. This is just another opportunity for the future and beyond with the Delete the Divide initiative. There's free online workshops for students, and young adults to get training with Microsoft and Google and LinkedIn, and learning how to get some of those certificates that can start them on their pathways to being successful in the technology field. So we're excited that's been put together so you can share that with your students. You could take the, well, if you're 24 or younger, I don't meet that criteria, to do some of those online classes yourself. And I really like that they put it into play where there's paid internships. So they can go see the Google campus right there in we call it Silicon Beach instead of just a Silicon Valley. And that's right, off of the Playa Vista area is where Google has their spots. So our final slide, like I said, the future and beyond. I mean, it's just gonna always take those partnerships. Keep clicking with the federal government, the county, the cities, our county board of supervisors, and our corporate partners. So we're really excited about continuing to push this effort, and our superintendent is 100% behind it. I just take it in the lead and go into a bunch of meetings and making sure that we pull this collaborative together. We know, again, that internet access is a priority for everyone, not only for education, but for health services, for personal development, job growth. It's a critical piece, just like electricity and running water. So I just want to thank you all for coming and participating with us today. I know I moved through mine really quickly. We're going to be sharing the slides, but we do want to, make sure that we avail ourselves to you. You can email us at any time. We're open to answering any questions that you might not think of right here, right now. And we're going to continue this partnership. So I'm really excited that Gina reached out to us, or Dr. Newton, want to respect that doctor, and made sure that we were here to provide these resources to you. So thank you to my team, Kip and Mandel, And I see our director, Johan Madrigal, just want to recognize him. He is working with us and manages the team that does the help desk. So I know we all get a lot of help from the help desk, and then also managing our team of teachers and instructors that can come out and do professional developments. And you saw how great Kip did with that. So he's very engaging and can provide a lot of good tips and tricks for teachers out there in the field. So we'll open it up to any questions, or Dr. Newton or anyone else have anything that they wanted to ask us. We're happy to pipe in.
And I'll just share this with you. Officially, we have, we closed.
Yes, we closed.
But this is so chock full of resources, and you talk about engagement. I'm sitting here on pins and needles taking notes. Just the information that's gone forward, not just in regards to us professionally and what we do on an everyday level and the emails we receive, not just for us personally and how it is that we conduct our business, but more so and most importantly is how the opportunities are available for students who choose to go into this field and the information that we share. You all gave us some amazing stats here. In fact, $10.9 billion is being dedicated just to cybersecurity. And that's billion with a B as in baby, a 350% job growth. And for those students who are graduating in 2025, the sky is the limit. If you are into looking for a job, they're going to be aplenty. I want to thank you all for the chart. One of the questions that came up, and I believe this is from Ken in regards to the pathways, how do we set up our courses and our pathways so that we have the capstone and we have these different components here, the concentrators and all. What you all shared in the chart, and again, you're going to receive all of this, the recording and the PowerPoint. You listed those courses in high school, in college, and then the trainings that you'll need as well. We also had some really good resources in regards to curriculum. Where can we go to find out, what it is that needs to be taught in the classroom? What types of programs are available there? And I have to say this, thank you for the closed captioning. I think that was just a great addition to, and especially when we're talking about access. And as you said, Sonia, diversity and inclusion and so on and so forth. Delete the divide, we've talked about it before, but I also want to remind everyone that it's something that It's About Time addresses specifically, because not everyone is privy to the opportunities that everyone else is privy to. So I appreciate this team that has come before us today, who is sharing this information. And I'm seeing some comments here in the chat, one here from KC. And everyone, please take a look at these in the chat here for these comments and these questions. So I invite everyone, Sonia, please, I know you have a meeting and so forth that you need to go to. Mandel, Kip, thank you so much. I invite everyone, if you are able, get this, there's more to come. So we are going to close here in just a second, but if your schedule permits, stick around for some more in-depth conversations. I'm going to stop the recording, put us in gallery view, you unmute yourselves, and we talk. So before I turn it over to our project director, Raina Flores Hansen, Sonia, again, thank you. And we have to do this. Give me just a moment here. We have to do this because everyone who has been with us here on It's About Time knows that we have a tradition here. Raise your juice boxes, your mugs, your coffee cups, water bottles, everyone. And let's toast our presenters this morning and say, thank you, we appreciate you.
You are very welcome. And like I said, I am running to a couple of other meetings, but there's something quickly that someone wants to ask. I can stick around for a second.
Okay, all righty, all righty.
And Casey comes to all the meetings. Just
yes, he does.
Unmute and say, hey, Casey's my buddy.
Everyone take a look in that participant list there. You'll see Casey. He's a trooper. So I'm going to end here. I'm going to turn this over to our project director, Raina Flores Hansen, for some closing comments. Raina.
Oh, I just can't say enough about what a wonderful presentation today, and just how much I present our presenters, Mandel, Hawl, Kip, Dr. Hooks, and then to have our directors, Johan Madrigal and Casey and Astrid Gonzalez. I just really appreciate you being here today. And as you know, we're here to provide targeted professional development and training opportunities for all our LEAs and to build a better and quality programs to focus on access and equity for all students. We're here to support you. Thank you for all our attendance, especially our faithful attendees that we see, and we really appreciate you being here today, and we hope you spread the word throughout California. You hear me, Mohammed? Throughout California. And Sasha, just so many great friends here today, and we thank you. You all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.